So, the
like
city
quick to the
manager's
point.
response to the letter, and then that was supposed to be provided by Lee, huh?
Yep, because I don't have anything beyond that.
Okay.
But you do, though.
I mean, I guess I do, because one of the
Yeah.
questions is the auditor, and now we have a name. So there's something there. I will also say that we attempted to get Bonnie to come in, but it was again last minute because we found out this morning that this was happening. And she couldn't make it. However, in the course of talking to her, I did interface with her and the head of the budget department for a minute, which was long enough for the head of the budget department to reiterate, this is not how we budget things. So I'm told that again.
Yes.
Beyond that, somebody else in the budget department was starting to ask, or she tried to explain to me how it could be that Sam could extrapolate that some of the Measure B funding was used for the shortfall on retirement, right?
Pensions.
On pensions,
Yeah.
without actually extrapolating the numbers. I didn't understand her explanation. But she seemed pretty confident in saying that he could have figured it out without anybody actually ever giving him
Right.
some financial breakdown. That was her ultimate point.
So that's why it's important, for me anyway, that we're on the same page with the budget people and CMO or whatever, that we're talking the same stuff. I mean, sometimes it's semantics, as they're saying it a certain way, and the budget people are looking at it, same kind of pot of money buckets, but referred to differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why it's important that we understand that and get those things straightened out. I don't know.
Can I ask you a question? When they say they don't budget in that way, are they talking really about budgeting, or are they talking about accounting for expense, which is not the same thing?
I don't exactly know, but I know that what we had a conversation about was about the sources of funding going into the general fund, that they don't track the sources of funding going into the general fund, which is why they can't say the money that came in from Measure B funding that was spent in these ways. Because if they tracked it coming in, then it wouldn't be that difficult to track it where it went. But unfortunately, since it just lands and they look at, this is how much money's in the account, and then they budget based on how much money's in the account. So.
That's fine, except all we want them to do is spend more money on pavement.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
now
bottom
where,
line is we want to see some improvement in the pavement.
we want to see the pavement number go up, yeah. And they do have a line item for that in the budget.
Yeah, and it goes back to that plus up kind of example that I use. I mean, that's what I used in my business when I was
Underneath
working.
her process, though, right now, they don't even know if they're spending it, period, let alone the plus up side of it,
Well,
right?
I think the point is they can tell you how much they spent on pavement. What they can't tell you is,
Where it
and how
came
much
from.
more they would have spent from the previous year, but they can't tell you that that's because of Measure B funding.
Right.
Because it could be we just had additional funding that came in through TOT or whatever, like transient occupancy tax.
That's our
But
job.
they can tell
I
how much.
understand it's your
Yeah.
job,
They
but
can tell how much has come in from Measure B, the quarter cent sales. They know the figure on that.
They know
like
the
28,000,
figure.
28 million or
Right.
whatever that is.
they know the figure, but they don't know
Where it went.
where it went.
Okay.
See, that's kind of scary. See, that wouldn't work.
But, they don't need
That
to know
would
where
work
it went.
in my
We
business.
need to say,
You
of
just
the-
need
of
to
the-
see if there's been an
as long as the payment
Yeah,
number
well,
went up
true.
and this other
Yeah,
number went
yeah.
up, we can assume it came from there. That's good enough. They can't.
Or that the
money is
existence of this sales tax meant that there was more funding available for things, and these are some things we care about, and funding increased in them, right? Like, that's what you're trying to report.
These things.
Yeah.
Right,
These
these
are the things
things.
that this group here
Yeah.
cares about.
Right.
This is what we want to see some improvement in.
Not so much those things as the things that are in the ballot, like.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what I was looking at
Yeah.
too. Is my question on that is, have they? Right. So I mean, the question is, have we done anything to reduce violent crime and burglaries? Have we done? Because that's really what the measure is,
Right.
and that's really what we're supposed to be reviewing.
Right.
So if we look at the actual money thing, yeah, that's a quantitative thing, but that actually doesn't tell us whether or not have we replaced potholes. The answer to that's going to be yes, we have.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say that they have to do more potholes this year than they did last year.
Well, what we want to do
Insinuated.
is say that $7 million showed up, and we'll give that to the sales tax fund. I mean,
Exactly,
but-
exactly.
But we got to show that $7 million was spent additional, the plus up in Gary's term, that there was more money spent than previous, and we'll attribute that, we'll cut them some slack. You know, bottom line, what this gets down to is, if they don't do this, the next time they go for a ballot measure to raise the sales
Yes.
tax, screw you guys.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
That's
why,
really what this is about, and maybe we need to communicate that to them somehow.
you know, I mentioned that when Lee was here.
Yeah.
I said it behooves them to show this as a
Yeah.
shining example, to say, hey, here's what happened with Measure B, and, you know, there's credibility.
Yes, this works.
Right.
This works, or this isn't working.
Right.
And if it's not working, they're not gonna.
And, you know,
Well,
when
would
you
you
look
do it
at the
again?
scope, you know, this is not, you know, we're talking $40 million with respect to the rest of the budget, which I forget what the whole total San Jose budget is.
Well, it's $4 billion or $1 billion.
So we're
$1 billion
looking at,
general fund.
you know, we're looking at just a small, very small piece here that, you know, I mean, it's,
The mid-year budget update just came out today. FYI.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I sent it to Gary and Nicole.
it's 100 and something pages, I only got to page 97.
700 pages?
No, 100 and something.
I was gonna say.
Oh, you were like, what? I want to read that
Yeah,
document.
yeah, I thought it was for
I will not
tonight.
print that document,
I thought it was
by the way,
tonight.
guys.
That's okay.
It's okay.
You know, if you go into last year's budget details, the big asset binders, and you dig out transportation department, you go down to find pavement. And I was gonna print it off and I forgot, and it lists under pavement 4 or 5 different places where money came to do
Yeah,
pavement.
right.
So they have the source of funds, and some of them is government grants, or I don't know what these things were, but I mean, they identify where the money came and it got spent. And I know DOT is really good at finding, changing the sofa and, you know, changing out street signs or painting crosswalks. They're really good at it. So they know where this money came from. It's there, this information is out there. And I just don't understand why they seem unwilling to give it to us, or take the time maybe to put it together.
Might be the time.
Well, maybe it will be different if Sharon's asking for the information. So,
Yes.
That, yeah,
that's hopeful.
yes, that is hopeful.
Are we allowed to talk to her?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the idea. And just so you guys know, you'll hear about it next week anyway. She is coming into the commission in April for her yearly
Budget.
presentation.
Nice.
So I'm giving her an hour.
So next week, but next week she won't be there.
Yeah, she won't be there, 'cause
But we
next
can
week
contact
it's-
her, it's appropriate or not appropriate.
Let me and Lee talk to her first.
All right, yeah.
This
I mean, I
hasn't
don't,
happened yet.
I'm not gonna dump on her, but I
Yeah, no, no,
wanna-
I just mean,
I just
we should
want
probably.
to start a dialogue. I'd like to
know
start
that
a
she does.
dialogue and see where we go from that, if possible.
So do we have to vote to update our charter?
I was gonna, okay, can we, all right, so we're done with
Sorry.
item A,